All right, so good evening. It's 7:26, August 26, 2025. We've got a town special meeting tonight. There is one item on the agenda. That item on the agenda is to discuss with possible action our open town attorney position. So we have three attorneys that should be joining us on Zoom at different times. The first one is supposed to be on here at 7:30 so that we can ask the attorney a few questions and they can give us some answers and then tell us a little bit about themselves as well. During the attorney discussions, there will be no public comments. Once we're done with all three attorneys and they are off of the Zoom meeting, then the board will decide if we want to take public comments at that time. So with that, still waiting for Hillary to get on. Let's go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance real quick. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think so, because initially we were getting our own feedback when you logged in.
So Mark, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, see if we can ask them to unmute. Okay, Hillary just logged in. Not yet. Should I go ahead and let her in?
Yeah. Hillary, we see that you're in the room, but we don't hear you and we don't see your picture. Not sure if you can hear us.
I can hear you. Let me adjust my video here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Hello. Good evening.
Now we can see you.
All right.
Trying to get one more mic set up here. I think we're okay now. Go ahead, if you would say something and make sure it's coming across our sound.
Good evening, town of Pitkin. How's it going?
Picking you up on the laptop, but not on our sound system. So,
Should I keep talking?
yeah, if you would.
Okay. We're having some nice rain down here. I don't know what your weather's like.
Where you yes. There may be.
Okay.
Try again. I think we're picking you up now, but
Okay, testing.
there we go.
All right.
All right. Okay, so our first candidate tonight is Hillary Graham with HBWC. Welcome to our town of Pitkin, Hillary. We're very happy to have you here. Let me first start by introducing our board of trustees. I'm Ed Punalto. I am the mayor of the town of Pitkin. Next to me is Jared Garrettson and Tom Gibb. And
Hello.
Corey Nelson coming back into the picture. He was trying to adjust the sound system.
Yeah.
So that's three of our board of trustees. We have one board of trustee open seat still. So right now we're a board of four. But let me give you just a quick rundown of Pitkin. And then we got a couple of questions for you, and then you're free to ask some questions as well. So Pitkin is a small mountain town with approximately 80 full-time residents. In the summer, we can expand to about 300 residents in the summer months. So obviously in a town our size, everybody knows everybody. We all have to try to get along. Give you a little bit on the business side. We currently have 5 businesses in town. A new business just opened up within the last 6 weeks, the Terrible Mountain Art Gallery. But our 4 businesses in town comprise of the Silver Plume General Store, the Stumbling Moose Lodge, the Pitkin Hotel, and then we have a number of short-term rentals that are managed here in the town as well. But to give you an understanding of our growth, in 2015, just on sales tax revenue for the town, generated approximately $15,000 sales tax. Last year, in 2025, we generated over $80,000 in sales tax revenue. So when you have growth in a small town, sometimes you have obstacles you have to overcome.
Sure.
That's one of our obvious reasons that we need a good town attorney to help us out. So my first question for you is, I'm going to start with some questions and I'm going to ask the board members if they've got any others as well. But my first question for you is, do you feel that the town of Pitkin always has to develop a legal path to every problem for the solution?
Absolutely not. I think most of the time there are plenty of options that don't require a legal path. I suppose, not to be a lawyer, but it depends on how we define a legal path. But I mean, in my experience, there are usually alternatives that are better, more effective, build more consensus and cost less than resorting to legal action. I would view legal action as a last resort. And in a lot of cases, I don't think that there are really any winners when there's legal action, if we're talking about resorting to court or something like that. But no, I would view that there are opportunities to find creative solutions in almost every problem.
How would you be able to assist in developing some compromises where it could be a win-win for everyone involved in the situation?
I think first is listening, understanding the issues. Oh, sorry for my dog. Hold on 1 second. Apologies for that. Okay, so step 1 would be understanding the situation, understanding the positions, what the issues are on each side, what the interests are, and then trying to get both sides some of what they want. I mean, often that's the nature of a compromise, is both sides don't get exactly what they want, but there's going to be some common ground, and we can talk about solutions that get each side sort of their most important goal, or a few of their goals. But it's understanding the dynamic and the facts and the desired outcome.
Thank you. On a little bit of a different direction here. What's your familiarity with the state of Colorado's HB 1362, which outlines the requirements for the 2021 energy plan implementation?
I'm familiar with it. I know that it does require adoption of building codes, but I would need to review a lot of these statutory mandates, carve out municipalities by size or location, and impose different obligations accordingly. So I wouldn't presume to know how it impacts Pitkin, but I do know that it is an issue similar to the wildland urban interface, the WUI mandates, other things like that come from the state.
Well, since you brought up WUI, that's the next question is your familiarity with the Wildlife Resiliency Code that we just found out was implemented June 1st of this year. and has to be implemented by June 1st of 2025, I believe.
Yeah, you have about a year. Yeah. My two of my current clients are within the wildland urban interface as designated by the mapping. So I'm working with them now to understand what the code requirements are. One of the advantages I think of the firm is that we have so many clients, and as a matter of course, we kind of churn through those legislative changes and try to advise everybody in a timely way. So you would get sort of standard memos customized for you, but it's kind of part of our normal work is we try to stay on top of the legislative changes.
Okay, one last one along that line. And what's your familiarity with the state of Colorado's recent implementation of adopting, the latest Reg 43 OWTS updates?
I had to actually figure out what OWTS was today. I was looking through your meeting packets and I saw a lot of OWTS, and I have learned that it's septic, I believe. It's on-site water treatment, right? So I don't know a whole lot about it specifically, but I am confident that I can parse through regulations and statutes and understand what's required. It's kind of, same song, different dance for understanding these kinds of regulations.
Okay. And then one last one for me, and one last question. Are you familiar with property vacations in a small town such as Pitkin? How those should be handled?
Well, I know it's a huge issue. I know that it comes up in my client city of Leadville, which is certainly bigger than Pitkin, but similarly situated. There are a lot of mining claims and platted alleys to nowhere and right of way that is, it's a historical overlay of a lot of things. And we work through kind of what the priorities are, view vacation typically as a last resort. I would view my role and yours as protecting the assets of the town. So right of way is one of those assets. We don't want to give it away lightly, because it's hard to get back. So it's something that has to be done in a thoughtful way and hopefully with some long-term planning in mind, so that you know what the goals of the town are, and whether right-of-way truly can be vacated without detrimental impacts.
Okay. So I'll go to the other board members. Does anybody else have any additional questions for Hillary that you might want to ask?
Hello, Hillary. My name's Tom Gibb. So as Ed pointed out here, we are a small town with a winter population in the low 80s, and we explode during the summer months. And so how a town regulates its interests is primarily, so far, basically through
Your audio is breaking up a little bit. Yeah, I'm not quite able to hear the question.
So
Oh, and unfortunately, that's worse. Try again if you don't mind.
Okay. Is that better? Is that better?
That is, yeah.
Okay. So.
Don't
this
move
is
right there.
Yeah, this is regarding the way towns function in pursuing their the interest of the town collectively, and that is often, in our case, mostly done through various ordinances. And it has been some time since we have had a truly meaningful review interest put on our ordinances, and I noticed in your resume here that you do assist in drafting and reviewing and upgrading ordinances. And, as I say, we've not really done that in some time, and with a large influx of people and towns, like so many organizations, churches, and various other organizations, community organizations, they turn over.
Right.
Old people move away and the young, energetic people come in. So, the responses to our ordinances are often that, our ordinances lack specific intent, or they're a little bit nebulous, or they're open to interpretation, and as a town, we lack an enforcement officer, and if we did have an enforcement officer, we have no municipal court. So you can kind of see where this problem is heading.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so my question is, and I'll just say this up front, I tend to prefer a more blunt approach to answers than running around the circle and working our way down to the point. But that's neither here nor there. You do this how you want. My question is, how can you help us as this town grows and expands and explodes with an influx of new people? And with the influx of new people bring in new ideas.
Sure.
And they bring in ways from doing things from wherever they came from. And so we find frequently our ordinances just get overrun, and we have no way at this point of taking care of ourselves.
Sure.
I
Couple
suppose there's a
thoughts.
question in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think I've got where you're headed. So a couple thoughts. Absent police enforcement, which I imagine you have sheriff coverage if you need it in cases of emergency, but absent a local police force, there are other ways to regulate through business licenses, STR licenses, things like that. And if you're trying to regulate behavior that is problematic, those may be things to look at. That would be my suggestion. And also understand what problems are we trying to solve? You know, is it that the short-term rental occupants are causing problems? Is it that I mean, I don't know enough about what your local issues are to really speak in any informed way, but I would say there are probably regulatory approaches.
So, with the comeback on some of our stuff as well, it's open to interpretation, or it's the wording's incorrect, or whatever. Are you willing and able to help us go? We don't have very many ordinances. We really don't.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think it may even be a question of whether it's ordinances that are needed. It might be regulations, which could be adopted by ordinance, but absolutely. I mean, writing for clarity and being concise, that is one of the mainstays of my practice. And we definitely review ordinances and draft them, and all the time. I noticed you guys you're not codified, so you don't have a code book. That would be, I mean, that may be a lofty goal, but that would certainly be helpful as a way of compiling the current ordinances, making them easier to reference and update.
Thank you. That's the explosion that we see each summer. turnover that we get as older people age out. The
Right,
altitude's high here. 9,200 feet becomes difficult for some people as they get older. And
sure,
so they're basically forced to sell out and move away. And so we have an influx of new people from other places with other ideas, other notions, and they don't always come here and read through the zoning code and read through it.
Right.
And so what happens is, without asking questions, they jump in. And then various ones of us finds ourselves chasing them down to say, no, your setbacks are incorrect,
Right,
or your building doesn't meet code,
Sure.
or no, you can't, just stop
right.
across the board.
Now that makes sense. I think your government structure is probably not imposing enough to really make people think twice about, oh gosh, do I need to have a permit for that? They probably feel a little bit like they're in the wilderness and we can do what we want here. So um I imagine that is a struggle, and not having staff who are not having a full-time planner or, a building official or things like that. I imagine a lot of that falls on the trustees. So we have resources and I'm happy to help. Um, I don't think I can fix the problem of people people coming in and it's the way it goes. I'd say having clear vision documents and clear documents about what the town of Pitkin means to you and the direction the town wants to go and what are its values and how do you preserve your heritage, those things would help.
Corey or Jared, yeah, anyone? So we have a couple of minutes. So I'm gonna ask you one last question.
Sure.
And the last question is really the question. If you want to take a few moments to explain to us as the Board of Trustees why we should select you and your firm as our town attorney.
Sure. Well, I think we are hard to beat as far as experience and skill in this line of work. We're one of the few firms in the state that specialize in this kind of law, and we have some very qualified and capable attorneys that we call our that we call our own. So I think we would be hard to beat as far as skill and experience. I think what I can offer is excuse me, personal attention, and a real desire to understand and be integrated with the town and the town's needs. I don't have such a huge practice that I can't spend that time with my clients, and I find that that's the most rewarding part of my work is getting to know people, getting to know what your issues are, and helping to solve problems, big or small. So that would be my plug. We're qualified and ready to help.
All right. Anything else? Any last minute question? Well, Hillary, thank you for giving us some of your time tonight. We certainly appreciate you being here and answering some questions and speaking with us. And looks like you have a real intent to want to help the town of Pitkin. So that's comforting to see. Thank you very much. We'll
Thank
be
you
in
all. Have a
contact.
good evening. Yeah, thanks for your time. I will
Thank
sign
you.
off. Take care.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, what else did I have?
What else?
Yeah, what else did I have?
Oh, I don't know.
We're dealing with an exploding population and a turnover in population.
I would say more turnover than growth.
We're, okay.
Yeah.
We are exploding in turnover. Go. Get that. So.
You guys.
So turn these up a little bit.
So when somebody buys a home in town, you reckon we ought to just hand the ordinance, so they don't start building fences or stuff in.
You know, We need a welcome to Pitkin.
So I'm connected to the thing.
Yeah.
Is it because the volume's all the way down that nothing's up?
Yeah. Maybe. We can try it.
All right, let's see if that works.
We can get some. I got group.
Oh, yeah.
He was talking, developing, called a code of ordinance. Summarize briefly the different things, and that can be part of the handout, so just so they know the perfect bill.
Oh, okay.
Corey, I didn't start the camera or the mic.
Oh, there we go.
No.
Try now.
Yeah, probably some of it in the.
Oh, yeah, we see that every time we go.
But, okay, you got 5 businesses, about time to.
Check.
Oh, no, that's coming out of my laptop still.
What's that?
Still coming out of the laptop.
You know, I mean, seriously, you have a couple of people that volunteer to go to the new people, welcome to town, here's a welcome leg. Ask it, here's the rules. That
doesn't make sense to me.
Highlight it necessarily, but you have some sort of a brief summary of things they ought to be aware of. Huh? Well, that's, yeah, that's right. But, you know, I mean, what's the deal with snow removal? What's the deal with, this and that and the other thing?
Building reports or a roof over your.
Yeah. It's better to ask for permission.
I don't know.
Right? I can't. It's hard.
Yeah, it's connected.
That's the way it's our property. We just do
It shows it's connected to that.
I don't think we intentionally want to.
Oh, it's
They just want to do what you want to do.
They want to make their personal improvement, their own nest.
oh.
And I thought we got a lot of sense right on the next one.
I guess
I'll get rid of it.
that's what I can't figure out.
Maybe we should play through here, but yeah, because we always pick the sound up. Mike to read the ordinances and then to see a bunch of violations.
They've got a proliferation of metal containers scattered all over town.
Right. I had to mute it. Yeah, that's just so weird though. And the volume on my laptop is turned completely down, but the sound was still coming out of there. I don't understand it. Microphone's hooked up.
It's a word. Jeez, where am
I know it's. Oh, he.
Oh, Frankie Williams.
Yeah, so the problem is,
all
it's hard on that, it's gonna be
When
like,
people get the idea.
Yeah, so
We've got these posts.
so we can talk. Excited.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to test it on the next guy.
Yeah.
Dan. Yeah, it did do a bing. Well, and then if it doesn't. I think it is too.
Well, I think it was just muted, maybe. I don't just
turn. Volume is there, so we can fly.
But
okay. Well, hopefully we don't.
Hopefully they're-
Yeah. Hopefully indeed. Yeah, we got Dan next and he's bringing his Alex. Yep. Hopefully this will work now. Oh, it was perfect time-wise. It was driving me crazy because I couldn't take notes without making a lot of noise. So I just tried to sit on my hands.
It's gore. Yeah, yeah, but if my bulls go, I won't take care of the whole herd. It's coming up. All these humanistic attitude.
Well, hey,
Well, yeah, I mean,
at the end of it. Can make first you know. This is.
I thought the nature we were born with. Yeah.
WHF.
Next one's at 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 minutes. You'd think they'd be popping in. Should be, yeah. Well, and I wonder if they're sitting next to each other or if they're both zooming in from different places. I don't know. I don't know that one. Oh, all right, we got him. Are we ready to let him in?
Yeah.
Hello there.
Folks, I believe it's you that we see. Can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Okay. And was Dan coming on live too?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe he is trying to join right now. Sorry. You know how Zoom can be sometimes.
Do we?
It's just not allowing Zoom through the Bluetooth. There's a little finger with it.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Mm.
But I never touched the numbers facial.
Yeah.
Who were we getting here? Getting Dan Finley and Alex Phipps is on. They're both WH. Yeah.
Gotta love how technology never lets us down.
Technology, right?
Yeah. Oh, here he is.
Hello.
Hello, Dan.
Hey, can you see and hear me okay?
We can hear you. We don't see you yet.
All right, let me work on that. But I can see Alex. He's the main guy. So how about that?
There we go.
I apologize. I don't know why my video isn't loading. Let me try to join from my browser. Oh, maybe this will help. No, no luck.
Nope, see?
Not yet.
I promise you I'm a real human being. Okay, I'm gonna try to rejoin via browser, but please, Alex, take it while I'm working on it.
Well, sure. I'm happy to answer any questions. Dan and I have worked together. I'm happy to, explain anything about our approach or what we do at the firm. I don't know if there's a series of questions you have for us or if anything we've put in our presentation is something you'd like to discuss. But I'm happy to talk about any questions you have. And obviously, as Dan is able to join us, I'm sure he'll be able to chip in as well.
We'll go ahead and start. Let me first introduce.
I have to say right now, I'm having a little bit of a hard time hearing you. Sorry. You may want to I don't know if the microphone has a volume adjustment, but I really am struggling to hear you.
Is that any better?
That's much better. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me start off by first of all welcoming you and Dan to our town of Pitkin special meeting. Give you a little bit of information about our trustee. My name is Edwin Alto. I am mayor for the town of Pitkin. Next to me is Jared Garrison. Next to Jared is Tom Gibb. And next to Tom is Corey Nasso. We are actually should be a board of 5. We are short one, a board of trustee. So we have the 4 of us that work well together. Let me give you just a brief overview of Pitkin. Pitkin's a small town of approximately 80 people in the winter, full-time residents. We seem to expand greatly in the summer to about 300 residents in the summer months. So obviously with 80 full-time residents and even 300 in the summer, everybody knows everybody, which sometimes is good and sometimes creates challenges. Give you a little bit of the background of the business side of Pitkin. Pitkin today has 5 businesses in town. Our newest one just opened in the last 6 weeks, and that is the Terrible Mountain Art Gallery. But we have the Silver Plume General Store that's been here for a number of years, the Stumbling Moose Lodge, the Pitkin Hotel, and we do have a number of short-term rentals in the town that are being rented out as well. Give you an idea of our town and on the business side. Look at just sales tax revenue for the town of Pitkin. There we go. For the town of Pitkin, our sales tax revenue in 2015 was roughly $15,000. In 2025 or last year, our sales tax revenue was over $80,000. So we've had some big business growth. And of course, with business growth, you can sometimes encounter some issues as well. So we do have a few questions that I'll run through and allow you to answer them as we go through them. And we'll have some of the other board members have a few questions they'd like to ask as well. But my first question is, do you feel that the town of Pitkin always has to develop a legal path for a solution when a situation arises?
I can take that one. You guys can see me now, hopefully.
Yes, we can.
All right, I am real. So legally, right? Like the law matters. The way I phrase it is, we will always give you guidance, but we do not make decisions. So you make the decision, and then we're there in lockstep with you, however that goes. But we will give you our legal advice and tell you what we think is advisable, and then we can go from there. I don't know if that was what you were looking for, but my main point is we will tell you what the law says, but if you have any reason to disagree or just don't think that it is the right choice for Pitkin, then we will work with you for the next steps. So
okay. So it kind of leads into the next question is, how do you feel you'd be able to assist Pitkin in developing compromises where it can be a win-win for everyone when a situation arises?
Yeah, I mean, great question. Let me just start by saying I'm probably not your typical lawyer. Maybe I'm like a rehabilitated lawyer. But in general, my approach is like people first, right? You know, especially I grew up in Grand Junction isn't small anymore, but used to be. And just like people matter. And so you start from there. You start from trying, and don't get me wrong, like people can be very opposed to everything, but you start from approach of like the law is what dictates us, but in general, like let's try to find a common ground. Let's try to find a win-win-win. Yeah, I don't know if that answered your question, but certainly the goal is to always find the motivations for everyone involved, or pitch the parts that matter, but in the end you hope you can find a solution that works for everybody.
All right, good, thank you. Moving a little bit different direction. What's your familiarity with the state of Colorado's HB 1362, which outlines requirements for the 2021 energy plan implementation?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a little too familiar. And it sounds like good on you guys for just acknowledging it and knowing kind of what it might mean for your community. But yes, certainly like aware of the new obligations, and I cannot say that any of my clients have had to like forcefully acknowledge it yet, but we're all working towards compliance. So.
All right. That takes me right to the next one that we found out about a month ago. What's your familiarity with the state of Colorado's wildfire resiliency code that was just adopted June of this year?
Yeah, I actually meant to. I'm sorry, I didn't, but I meant to look at your map to see kind of, just to what degree you're exposed. Obviously, game changer in terms of just what do we do and how do we do it and how are we compliant. I think bigger. I mean, especially for Pitkin, like what makes sense, what's even reasonable. Like the map matters and the law matters, but I would think just practicalities would have a large I don't know, weight in that equation.
All right, but just, we are bright red in the map.
I figured, yeah. And well, and let's be honest, right? Like I presume that there's a nice map and a nice, new directive, but at the same time, like literally fires are real, and businesses, homes are potentially, affected. So that's where I would want to know a little bit. Like I have been to Pitkin, but it's been a long time. Anyways, my point would be like on the ground matters. Like, does this map reflect reality / can we help protect people's investments and property,
Okay. I'll go to the next one then, and that's your familiarity with the state of Colorado's recent implementation of adopting the latest Reg 43 OWTS updates.
Yes, of course. I mean, again, this is just kind of our wheelhouse. So happy to guide you guys through it or otherwise advise, but certainly are not unfamiliar with that.
All right. Well, those are three hot topics for us.
Good. Yeah, no, it's helpful. It's kind of helpful to know kind of what your dynamics are, what the hot button issues are, so to speak.
Okay. One last question from me, and then I'll let the other board members ask a few. Are you familiar with property vacations in a small town such as Pitkin?
You just mean like abandonment kind of?
Yeah, vacating streets or roads.
Yes, certainly. Yeah. Have encountered that many times. And kind of know the process or how to advise, or whatever you guys might need in that arena. I think we have the capacity.
Okay. I'll open it up to any other board members. I know Tom's got a question.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Tom Gibb. Back up a little bit, he says. All right. Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Okay. So as Ed pointed out, we have a population influx in the summertime. The winter population is in the 80s and summer population is in the 300 range. Along with that, Pitkin is at 9,200 feet more or less. And so it is, there's a turnover as people get older, and various issues go with old age along with thin air. And so people have to move out and move away. And so what we're currently experiencing is different than we have had in previous years. I guess I would call it an explosion in turnover. Not a real big explosion, but a lot of new people come in, and they come in from wherever they come in from, and they bring ideas and they bring whatever they're used to and what their norms are. And they've moved to a place where some of those norms are not norms here. And so we have issues with, I guess I will say, a lack of expectations or lack of education or lack of asking questions. The way that Pitkin basically has historically regulated itself or its interests have been through town ordinances. And our ordinances have been around for quite a while, but they have not been, what shall I say, reviewed or upgraded or technically brought up to speed, let's say, by at least not in any meaningful way, by any attorneys. And so frequently what we get is that well, the ordinance is ambiguous, or it's open to interpretation, or it's just some nebulous thing. And Kent does not currently have any enforcement or any municipal court. So you can see here we've got a package of issues colliding.
Sure.
And what happens is that as far as our ordinances and the way people think and act, so we wind up behind the ball trying to educate people from the get-go. They've moved here from somewhere else and they don't know what 15 feet of snow looks like or what it will do to a roof, for example.
Sure.
And so our ordinances, what we need is a review and an upgrade so that our ordinances, the intent of the ordinance is absolutely defined. And once that would happen, so this is something that would fall to you guys to look through. We don't have very many ordinances, but what we have are terribly important, especially at this altitude on several of them. And so the bottom line is we're going to need some help getting our ordinances lined up so that they're usable, they are intentional, they are adequate, and they are enforceable in some fashion.
Yeah.
And so we've had some discussion off and on this, but so far we haven't come to any truly meaningful solution. And we have, I think this is really something that kind of escalated in on us pretty fast, and we kind of got caught
Sure.
with our pants down. So,
And that makes total sense. I mean, I don't think you guys are alone in that, especially, I presume, what a fun place to visit in the summer, and, you know, come one, come all, stay at a house, but that's not the reality that I'm assuming you guys, I don't know anything about your history, but, you know, having probably lived there for a while, have, like, you know, it's a very different kind of expectation and approach. What I would say is, without a municipal court and without a code officer, enforcement is difficult. Like, I won't pretend that it's not, but the starting point is having really clear and good ordinances, as you kind of nailed. And we are very familiar with kind of modernizing or updating or just trying to kind of hone in on what your community wants for the moment, which, again, I have no idea when your ordinances were last written, but I suspect it was for a different time and a different place. So we would be happy to help kind of recraft and re-explore what makes sense right now for you and looking forward. The enforcement piece is going to be difficult, but you have to have the hook first. So you got the hook, and then when and if it's worth kind of pursuing in district court or otherwise, like, will be all systems go. But honestly, it's more the threat that you hope engenders compliance more than anything else. Alex, do you have anything to add to that? I mean,
I think it's very common to see these antiquated ordinances that need to be updated for either modern language or modern conditions. And, that's something we've done, but also it's, something we try to take a really thoughtful approach to, because, an ordinance is not a one size fits all solution. In a small town, it may be one thing, and in Denver, it's another thing. So it really is a situation where we need to be in discussion with you and kind of understand your needs and your difficulties. But that is definitely a situation we've experienced, and it's something that a lot of towns struggle with.
So thank you, gentlemen. My thruster on all this was where we come from, where we currently sit, and where we're going. And right now we're in a bit of a mess, and we need to get cleaned up.
Yeah.
And you brought up the word district court.
Well, I mean, just full transparency, we're generally not interviewing when things aren't a mess. Just because, guess what? If things are like taken care of, you're not looking for legal help. But the flip side of that is we're very experienced in sort of cleaning up messes, or just trying to kind of get a track going and kind of positive momentum moving forward.
Thank you.
Corey to Jared. All right, so I'll give you one, not really a question, but I'll give you an opportunity here. And that's, if you want to take a few moments to explain to us as the Board of Trustees as to why we should select your firm as our town attorney.
Yeah, sure. I like that question. So first of all, like, I just want to express that our whole firm ethos, like, it's kind of kindness first and competency first too. So those are kind of our guiding principles. I grew up in Western Colorado. I have a soft spot in my heart for the mountains. I just like doing what I do and serving people and trying to help. So ultimately, I think that's our sales pitch. But our firm is kind of built on the modern age. We're fully remote. That doesn't mean we won't come. I think you saw in our proposal. In fact, I mean, give me an excuse to get to Pitkin and I'll be there, right? I don't want you guys to always have to pay for it, but your neck of the woods is pretty awesome if you ask me. So but what I would say is we are fully virtual. We're trying to be kind of on the cutting edge of modernity. We're a text away, we're a phone call away. We will respond if you email us. And from what we've heard from our clients, that might be where we're filling a gap. To the extent that you guys have been looked past or not kind of top priority, we won't be that for you. We care and we want to help, and so we'll be there.
All right, very good. Any last questions up here? All right, well, Alex and Dan, thank you for joining us tonight, giving us some information, answering some questions. We look forward to visiting with you again in the near future. So thank you for popping in tonight.
Of course. Can I say one last thing, which is just thank you guys. Like, I don't know that public service or just sort of volunteerism has the same, I don't know, people don't seem to do it as much. So just thank you, regardless of if you pick us or not. I'm just impressed at kind of how you guys are looking out for your town. So
thank you. We all love Pitkin.
Yeah, understandably. And again, thank you for putting in your service for looking out for it. So
thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for meeting. I'm impressed that you guys are going late, but I know we're not the last one. So enjoy your free time when you get it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.
Clearing fund code and total.
Just that simple.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Really are not adequate. How long, when was that last, we've gone over and over and written new code, not that long. So I don't, surely our verbiage isn't that antique. Enforcement. Isn't paradise, you think everybody's wanted. I think you're here.
Where did that one go?
Well, them certainly put up more than I will. There it is. I'll let you see.
They are the tech.
Oh, yeah.
They're the Texas firm, but these two, I guess, are, I don't know how big.
Yeah.
How big the company is and.
The headquarters is,
Sure,
these guys are satellite office. And most of their clients for municipalities are in Texas.
Our next guy is in the lobby. He's in the lobby.
Which one?
These two are here in Denver.
Pardon?
These two are here in Denver.
They're with the Texas firm?
Yes, it's just a satellite office for them here.
And is this guy, is he a son of that firm? The Texas?
I don't believe so.
When I looked it up, I couldn't find it.
It's ready for me to let Christopher in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait a minute. All right, here he comes.
Let's go.
Not ready.
Well,
Hello, Christopher.
Hi, everyone.
We can see you and we can hear you. That's two good things.
Did something right.
All right, I think we're ready to roll if you are.
Yeah, happy.
So give you a little bit of introduction here. My name is Ed Pinalto. I'm the mayor for the town of Pitkin. With me tonight, to my right, is Jared Garrettson, Tom Gibb, and Corey Nasso are all three board of trustees. We actually are short one board of trustees, so we're normally a board of 5 instead of 4. So we are short one. Give you a little bit of background on the town of Pitkin. Pitkin's a small town of around 80 full-time residents. That number grows significantly in the summer, where we have around 300 residents that come in for the summer months. And obviously in a small town, everybody knows everybody. And sometimes we all like each other and sometimes we don't. So it's just a characteristic of a small town. Give you a little bit of background on the business side of the town. Pitkin currently has 5 businesses in town. Our newest one being the Terrible Mountain Art Gallery that opened about 6 weeks ago. But prior to that, we've had 4 businesses in town that have been around for a number of years, some more recent than others. We have the Silver Plume General Store that's been around for a lot of years, the Stumbling Moose Lodge, the Pitkin Hotel, and then we have a number of short-term rentals in the town of Pitkin as well. To give you an idea of the growth, just looked at the sales tax revenue for the town of Pitkin. In 2015, it was roughly $15,000 in sales tax revenue. Last year in 2025, we were over $80,000 in sales tax revenue. So we've had a pretty good expansion on business over the last several years. And of course, when you have a growth in business and then a number of residents coming in the summer, sometimes you run into a few obstacles you got to figure out. So with that, I've got a few questions that I'll go through and ask you and give you an opportunity to answer them. And then I'll open it up to the other board members for any questions they might have. But my first question is, do you feel that the town of Pitkin always has to develop a legal path for a situation or for a solution when a situation arises?
I think I don't know. My view on this just is more, I guess, experiential than anything else. You know, having grown up in Gunnison as a kid, I'd go up to the Ohio City. Our friend Joe Benj used to run the Gold Creek Inn there. I know, you know, kind of the dynamic of a small town, you know, quite well. And, you know, with that, there's a lot of things that I think are hugely positive, that it's pretty nimble to be able to make changes and do things as topics and problems come up. But part of, I think, good government in a small town where you do have just inherently, and I looked through some of the meeting minutes that you guys had, you're going to get kind of the same recurring problem over and over again where perhaps you know, there's not a lot of contractors. There's a question of whether there's a conflict of interest or that sort of thing. And a lot of, I think, the hair pulling and anxiety and problems that kind of come with that can be solved if you have a legal structure in place that sort of predicts a process. And if you have that process and that process is followed, I think a lot of those troubles, you know, can kind of be avoided. And when I was still living up in Gunnison, yeah, I think it was shortly after that, there was this issue with, you know, sort of the out-of-towners and the in-towners, and there was a prosecution over somebody at a second home, you know, where they were registering to vote and that sort of thing. And again, I think if the rules are real clear, you just don't have, you know, those same issues. But yeah, to get to your question, I mean, most problems, the legal solution, if it's already in place, you don't need to, you know, keep recreating the wheel. And so for most things, I think, you know, just a generic code that really defines process and conflicts of interest and disqualification, that sort of thing, gets you 90% of the way, you know, where you need to be. And it doesn't, you know, require, you know, like a town attorney to keep, changing the, basic template contract that the city uses for most transactions. It would be rare that something would be big or complicated enough that you'd need to, essentially bring in a different template. So that's sort of my philosophy is, I guess, if you have a good, foundation and kind of framing on things, the town essentially, runs itself in a consistent way, administration to administration, or, what have you. So,
Okay. How do you think you'd be able to assist in developing compromises where it could be a win-win for everyone when a situation arises?
When I negotiated, different cases, different outcomes, that sort of thing, the place that I start is sort of, what are the big things that can't be changed, or what are the big things that people agree on? And if you can kind of, nail those down and then focus in on, okay, well, what is actually being negotiated here? What's the difference of opinion? Try to talk that out, see if it's, something that can be resolved, but, not for it to be an emotional thing as much as it is, why is one side coming, at this one way and the other's coming at it a different? And perhaps, just getting that out there and understanding the motivations and things allows that compromise to occur. And it's the same as, I guess, drafting a document or something like that. It's important that everybody, be able to kind of express where they're coming from and why. And then I think you can kind of have an honest conversation about, well, where are the areas that we can sort of come together and compromise, or if there isn't compromise, at least people know why.
Okay. So I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. And the question is, what's your familiarity with the state of Colorado's House Bill 1362, which outlines requirements for the 2021 energy plan and implementation?
I don't have a whole lot of knowledge of that. I need to, look a little closer. Is that the, I guess, utilities related act, or?
That's the 2021 energy plan that has to be implemented by June 1st of 2026, or you have to go with the low carbon energy code.
The building code, or the
it's the energy code.
Okay, yeah, I just kind of know it at, I guess, a very, very stratospheric level, I guess. And I'm happy to, research it more, but I wouldn't BS you as far as having some great familiarity with it. I know, that was a challenge in Gunnison. A lot of people were sort of unhappy about having, some of these efficiency mechanisms built into the building code in particular, and I think that's still all getting sorted out. So,
okay, and kind of along the same line, but this is your familiarity with the state of Colorado's wildfire resiliency code that was just adopted by the state in June of this year, and we've got to adopt by June 1st of next year.
And I just know that requires some vegetation management, also exterior building materials, that sort of thing. But again, without pulling up the code and reading it, or the revised statutes and reading them word for word, I couldn't tell you too much about it. I do know, being over on the other side of the mountains right now, that of course everything that happened in Superior is sort of the impetus for that. So,
okay. So one last one along that line, and that's your familiarity with the Colorado's recent implementation of adopting the latest Reg 43 OWTS updates.
And what's that one? I'm sorry.
The state of Colorado's recent implementation of adopting the latest Reg 43 OWTS updates.
And again, I don't have great familiarity with that.
Okay.
but I do know how to research those things. So.
Okay. All right, one last from me, and that is, are you familiar with property vacations or vacating property in a small town such as Pitkin?
That was the agenda item I saw come up on a couple of the meeting minutes. And I don't exactly know, what that particular situation is. If the city's being asked to, essentially hand the land over to somebody else, or I couldn't quite pull that out of the minutes.
Okay, so what that situation is a piece of property here in town that has streets and lanes or alleys platted on it, and the property owner has asked to vacate those street locations so he can put streets and new locations. And we obviously need some guidance on that.
Oh, so essentially it would be just redeeding the property so that you would have those roadways in a different location, or I guess having those encumbrances put on a adjacent parcel or something like that.
Okay.
Is that your issue?
Well, we're not, quite honestly, we're not sure what we can and what we can't do with the
Oh,
street vacation, so.
Yeah, and I guess my background in that is just I know enough property law to understand, how easements work, and that was part of the reason I was back in Gunnison, was I participated in the land management program they had at the college, and that did give me some greater familiarity with property law. So, I would think that that's mainly just a deed issue that the city would need to, or the town would need to just determine, are we giving this up for free? Are we, expecting, just to have another deed written as to where these roadways and utility easements and the rest of it all would get relocated to. So.
Okay. So I'll open it up to other board members. I know Tom's got a question or two.
Yeah, this is Christopher. My name's Tom Gibb. And my concerns are, I guess they fall into three categories. Where Pitkin has been, where it currently is, and what our future looks like. And we have some extenuating, we have some new circumstances that we are experiencing that we are slightly unfamiliar with. So as Ed pointed out here, we have experienced, Pitkin has been found. We are on the map. And our, just alone in our sales tax revenues from 15,000 or to 80,000. That tells you what kind of influx we are experiencing. Along with that influx, we also have a population that is to some degree aging out. For whatever reason, people get older and they move other places for various reasons. One of the ones that I fear the most for myself is that at some point this air will become too thin and I will have to go somewhere lower in order to enjoy breathing. So the result of that is that we have an influx of a much younger crowd from a diversity of backgrounds and a diversity of locations who arrive in Pitkin, and they come with their own ideas and their own standards and their own what is right and what is wrong and how to do things. And so what we come up with, I guess, in the end is we have an influx of people, and it's not huge, but it's enough to create some issues because they don't, they come in with their own agendas and they come in with their own ideas and they come in with their own building expertise, and and whatever else they might think. And so just for an example, when you move to Pitkin, you move to a town where you might experience 15 feet of snow load, which is a lot of snow. And if you come from a southern state where you build a shed this way, and you come to Pitkin and you build a shed the same way, the snow is going to punch it right into the ground. What happens is we get people who show up and without, because we have a sign, you come into town, Pitkin is zoned, building permits required. That does not always happen. And in fact, more and more times we find we're chasing after the fact. And so that's just kind of an example, but here's what I really want to get to is that we have not had the way a town regulates itself and takes care of its interests is through its town ordinances. And our town ordinances have kind of, shall I say, been ignored to a large degree by various ones, and we find ourselves chasing after people who have failed to ask questions or to look at what the zoning code says or look at what building codes for this area might be. And so we have not, in a truly meaningful method, I would say our ordinances are probably need to be reviewed, perhaps redrafted and upgraded so that the intent and purpose of the ordinance is very well defined, so that you can't say, well, it's ambiguous or it means something else or it's just not clear. So we need help with getting our ordinances probably organized into it has been suggested some sort of code book, not just random ordinances that you have to go look up and find. And so we need some help with that. And the reason we need help is because not just the ordinances are the problem. We have no enforcement officer. And we have no municipal court. And so where Pitkin has come from to where it is currently setting and where it is going is terribly important. And the ordinances and the rules by which we regulate ourselves in this town are hugely important. And so my question to you is, are you able to help us review and upgrade and create? We don't have that many ordinances. We're not just inundated with ordinances. I don't know, like 12 of them, maybe. But my point is we need some help. And the question is, can you help us? And maybe a little bit of guesswork on your part of what that help might look like and what form it would take.
Well, it's interesting because I mean that was sort of my first impression when I looked on the website to just kind of see where everybody was at. Saw that the city has, you know, a roughly $278,000 a year overall budget. What I couldn't find on the website was, does the town even have a charter or kind of a larger document, or is it just all these kind of 13 ordinances which aren't, codified? And that again goes to, when I answer the mayor's, initial question, if these structures are in place, I think a lot of the headache goes away. And, that really should be the top priority is, finding a way to just make this simple. And, as far as enforcement, if, we're not able to, set up a separate municipal court, then, what jurisdictional options do we have to send this stuff over to Gunnison, either the district or the county court, and have, some of those issues resolved. But, honestly, having, lived in different places where the environment, the building codes are a concern. If those things are enforced, you don't have these problems, but that enforcement can be really, really nasty. If people aren't following the building code, then they need to take the structure down, that sort of thing. But part of it is you don't want to anger folks. So to be able to, express, what that standard is. So, there's not really I didn't know what I was doing type thing. I didn't have any reason to know. And this is like a surprise. That seems to be the biggest and most important thing for the city to do is just have a very clear standard, and nobody can really dispute it when it's being enforced. Does that make some sense? Or I was just kind of surprised when I looked at the website and didn't see that charter, because I think that's the starting place, and then I think the ordinances and things can be codified.
Our charter lost me completely. So my question to my fellow is our charter lost in antiquity? And the answer is no. We have a copy of it.
Oh, it's in a drawer someplace or on the wall.
All right, Corey or Jared, you have it? All right, well, I've got one last really not a question for you, but it's an opportunity for you. If you want to take a few moments to explain to us as the Board of Trustees why we should select you as our town attorney.
Again, I think it just boils down to practicality. I'm happy to give practical advice to the extent that there's more complicated questions that need to be researched. I have that background. I'm happy to do that. Part of it is that I think I would need, in addition to the contract, access to resources through the Colorado Municipal League. I've had a good relationship with Kathy Fogo, who acts as the Gunnison City Attorney. Those are sort of the places I would go, I think, to find some answers and other examples of these documents that need to be drafted. Beyond that, I do have a personal connection to Gunnison County. I do not mind. Actually, that's the whole reason I'm applying for this contract, is that it would give me an excuse to spend more time and see my family that still reside in the county, and I'd actually kind of look forward to coming and visiting as frequently as I could. So.
All right, well, good, thank you. Any last questions?
Yes. So I have one more question.
Sure.
Like you're currently overworked.
No. I get to kind of pick, what cases I take. I do mainly child welfare and criminal defense. I kind of control how busy I am. At the same time, my background is in constitutional law. I've drafted codes or commented on the drafting codes and that sort of thing, and I would be up for that task. So.
Thank you.
All right, I think that's all the questions we have for you, Christopher. I do want to thank you for taking time tonight to spend some time with us so we could ask you some questions. You could learn a little bit more about Pitkin, answer some of our questions. So we thank you for your time, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. And if you have any other questions of me, I'm happy to answer. If you want me to, get you an answer to a more specific question, whether it be the environmental code or fire code or any of that, I'm happy to look into it. So.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Thank you again, and we'll be talking with you.
Okay. Hey, have a great evening, you guys.
All right, you too. All right, so now back up to the board. What direction do we want to go? I'll give you my preference. Go for it. Go for it. My preference, my preference is we make a decision tonight on one of the three. Not put it off. I feel like after hearing all three of them and answering the questions, my feeling is Hillary from HPWC and that firm is probably a good direction for us to go.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think just some of the legal background for the cities that they represent. I think Pitkin kind of gets to piggyback on some of the, I don't want to say cost sharing, but when municipalities are faced with, implementing the wildland urban interface or whatever it is, they're already doing that for numerous other cities or towns. It's not necessarily they're going, oh, we're starting from scratch again with Pitkin. And then just I think the level of experience, just it's kind of the way I was seeing already, and just being interviewed with Hillary. I think just reaffirmed that was kind of my direction I'd like to go.
Tom, Garrett?
Oh, I thought, even though my only thing about Hillary was she said she didn't even know what OWTS meant. But she picked up on that. She actually is my pick, Hillary. Our chance of having an in-house, come to the meetings might be this Gregory guy that grew up in Gunnison, but his resume, I bet he's really great with he does criminal defense and it looks like he's great with family court, all that. I think that sounds great. Gregory from Wexford knows the area. Knew Joe Benji, which we know him, and he seems more low key, but I don't think he has the experience that we need. And I don't know, the Texas so Hillary is my pick.
Tom, yeah. Thoughts?
I do have thoughts. I don't know if they're worth anything. So as Corey pointed out, there's a wealth of information to be piggybacked on here with this HCWC. And that's a good thing. With Alex, Finley, and Dan, who are satellite out of Denver, their back end is in Texas, and that's where the business is. And these guys are up here, and I don't know what their backing is up here. I don't know what their resources are, and what the reach is for the main branch, and how much feedback they get. And it seems more likely to coordinate better with HPWC. So I would go with that, except that's what my head tells me. And you're going to think this is odd. It probably is. But my gut says that this Mr. Christopher might not be too bad. That's just him.
Okay.
Also, with Hillary, I have some personal research and knowledge with a couple of the small towns that she listed here. And I know that they had a couple of problems, kind of like what we have. And apparently I don't know the specifics of her work with that, but I happen to know that those towns have had some problems similar to ours, and she was able to work through those. I got a good old feeling in your gut from this Christopher guy. I think just because he's from the area, but I don't, his background does not, I don't think.
Constitutional law.
Yeah, so I'm talking about code, you know, like the code, the ordinances, like you were talking.
Yeah.
I don't think his background is there. I think from the research that I did from what I found online and with what they sent.
So I'm gonna work backwards. I said a little bit about Hillary, but with Christopher, my concern is in his background, his expertise in child welfare and criminal defense. I don't know that we need either one of those in Pitkin today. I am concerned in just some of the things we're gonna be facing coming up in the fall with the wildfire resiliency code. With OWTS, the energy plan implementation. He has little to no knowledge on that. And I think we're gonna need some guidance sooner rather than later. And I don't think it's a good thing for the town of Pitkin to ask questions and then wait till next month or the following month to get some answers from somebody. I feel like with ATWC, they've got the resources and enough towns that they're working with in Colorado that maybe Hillary didn't understand OWTS, which I understand. But I know there's people in her firm that does, because she stated that there's other people or other towns they're working with on those requirements as well. So WHF, I didn't get the warm fuzzy. So my pick is Hillary with HPWC.
Say that last thing again.
My pick is with Hillary with HPWC. On Parker Wilson and Harbor. Yeah, that is. Hillary's a lot easier. So.
Well, I agree. It's like decision tonight, a whole lot of sense in hashing this out in September, but we say the same thing over. I don't know, does it indicate you want to take some public comments if anybody has an opinion? We got Mark and Marie.
We got Mark and Marie on.
Three people in the crowd, very big crowd today.
I'll open it up, public comments if anybody wants to say.
I would agree with what you all discussed. This fellow that has again its connection. I don't think you really want to be training in the firm. And I think that might be some of what you'd have to do there. You probably might have some passion to get into it, but get resources from other communities. Your last attorney, for several communities, was able to provide a lot of on the spot response to certain questions that came up based upon his other client communities. So I kind of agree. It kind of looks to be the consensus. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Pete. Mark or Marie, you're online. Do you have any comments? Chris, Justin?
I go through the process of elimination. The third fellow was Joe Joseph. And the two gentlemen based out of Texas have a vast library of information behind them. I identified with the lady. I was real disappointed she had to go take care of the dog during the meeting, but that's his material. I believe that she has quite a bit of experience, and I liked one of her comments. She made some kind of comment about negotiating and finding a win-win answer, and that we are not a big municipality, but a very small town. And considering everybody's viewpoints, and the court system was more or less her last answer rather than her first answer. So I would go with the link.
All right, so back up to the board, anything else you wanna? Anybody wanna make a motion?
There. And remove the town Pitkin. Offers the town center position. To. Hillary Grant. From the offices of HPWC, Hoffman, Parker, Wilson, and Cargill.
I'll second the motion.
All right, so we've got a motion and a second to offer the town attorney position to Hillary Graham with HPWC. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so I'll take this to the board. Do you want Stacy to contact Hillary, or would you like me to contact her to offer the position, or?
Well, this is a question for the two of you. Who of you has spoken on the phone with this person?
I've not spoken.
I've emailed with all of the attorneys. Yeah.
That's why I asked.
Certainly more weighty.
What? Okay.
Okay.
Offer the position. See what she needs to move forward.
So do we, just as an act of courtesy, do you wait until that is confirmed before you send
I want to get something back from her in the form of a contract, something agreement. To know we've got her before we tell anybody else no. You never know. So, yes. So we'll hold off on sending anybody else anything else until I can something.
That's good.
All right, very good. That takes us to our last item, and that's to adjourn. Someone want
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
this year?
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Aye. Thank you.